The MotoGP title fight takes another twist after an epic Indonesian Grand Prix weekend. A lot of talking points to get through. We're going to talk about what happened in the races, things off track, developments for 2024, and yeah, stick around, make sure to follow the channel, subscribe, like the video, and let's get into an epic weekend we've seen in MotoGP. Jorge Martin took the lead of the MotoGP World Championship for the first time in his career after the sprint race on Saturday, as title rival Pecco Bagnaia struggled after a terrible qualifying session which only could lead him to finishing just inside the points in the sprint race. Martin took the lead in the championship, but it would only last 24 hours after we seen another twist in the MotoGP title fight, as Jorge Martin was leading the Grand Prix. He had a 3-second lead. At the midway point of the race, he crashed, and it was just a simple mistake. Pecco Bagnaia was in third at that point. He was then promoted to second, with Maverick Viñales leading. He then was able to get past Viñales and hold off Viñales and the charging Fabio Quartararo to take victory. An unbelievable ride from Bagnaia, which regained him the lead in the World Championship. He now has an 18-point lead over Martin, which, going into the weekend and the current form that Jorge Martin has been on, I think it's the best possible confidence boost for Bagnaia. He'd been getting beat by Jorge Martin since Misano, essentially, and for him to stop the rot and to be able to lead the World Championship still after losing a 66-point lead is just a credit to him for sticking at it. You know, he made mistakes in India, he did crash out, but world champions are able to bounce back, and that ride from Bagnaia in the Grand Prix was sensational. He went from P13 to first. That is just the best possible weekend he could have had, and I think momentum is a big thing in sport, but Bagnaia hasn't let his head drop, and I think there was a lot of criticism for him saying that pressure is getting to him. But when I think of Pecco Bagnaia, I think of last season. Yeah, he might have been 91 points off, but when he needed to win and get on a run of form, he did that. And he likened his victory yesterday to the one that he had last year in Malaysia, where he went from P9 to P1. And I think that that is just defining for him. He's able to pull out these unbelievable performances. Yeah, he got a bit of luck with Martin crashing out, but you have to stay on the bike. You have to be in it to win it. And I think going into Phillip Island, where he finished on the podium last year, and it's a circuit that is just epic for racing, I think the reason is for that is that the ride height devices that MotoGP bikes have these days are really limited because the track is so fast and twisty. You know, there's no real time to actually use the device apart from the main straight. Bagnaia and Martin, I think, could be at a really epic point in the season where we could see them battling for the lead. Of course, there'll be other bikes involved in there. It's such a great track. It's a great leveler. It's a rider's track. But Jorge Martin will need to respond. And he said after the mistake yesterday that he is just not going to change his approach. He knows he's the fastest. He just made a mistake. And Bagnaia is on this confidence boosting win. We could be set for an absolutely epic race this weekend in Phillip Island. You're looking at others on the podium. You know, Maverick Viñales in P2. Again, he had the opportunity to get a race victory. I think he had fantastic pace. But he said after the race he was just scared about managing the rear tyre, as it was so difficult in the hot conditions of Mandalika. He just didn't push enough, and he just wanted to conserve the rear. So close to getting another victory. But Maverick, I think, is in a really good spot. And the fact we're going to Phillip Island, a track that he loves as well, could be a real shout for him to get his first victory for Aprilia. Fabio Quartararo, I think, was a fantastic third place. He showed unreal pace to catch up to Bagnaia and Viñales in the latter stages of the race yesterday. He seemed quite dejected by the fact that this is the reality for Yamaha. They can get close and get right behind these bikes, but they just can't overtake. But going to Phillip Island, like I say, it kind of masks the deficiencies of other bikes, and it's more of a rider's track. And yeah, I think he will be alright going into this weekend. Although it's a track he's never actually finished a MotoGP race at in the 2 visits that he's been there, so he'll be hoping for just a more consistent week. In other news for 2024, of course, the big story, Marc Marquez signed for Gresini Racing. This was announced at the start of the race weekend, and of course, naturally, he was going to be questioned about his move, what's going to happen, and we actually got some telling information from Gresini themselves on the World Feed broadcast. They were asked if Marquez was going to bring Santi Hernandez with him or his team. They confirmed that Santi Hernandez will not be with Marc Marquez in 2024, so that will be ending a 12-year partnership between Marquez and Santi. Marquez will be using Frankie Carchedi, who is currently Fabio Di Gianantonio's crew chief, and Carchedi was also Joan Mir's crew chief when he won the world title with Suzuki in 2020. I think it's a great move for Marquez in terms of having someone there like Frankie Carchedi, experienced head, he knows the Ducati. It's going to be the perfect person for him to learn the Ducati with in that early part of the season. And I do think there's a real chance for him to just get onto that bike and immediately feel comfortable. Marquez also said he's going to be bringing one mechanic with him from his current team at Repsol Honda, and that is it. So he doesn't want to break up the harmony in Repsol and also the ones that are working there in Gresini Racing, because you have to think about that as well. You just can't essentially move people out of a job to fit your own crew. It's not fair like that. But yeah, I think the engineers and everyone at Ducati are pretty excited to have Marc Marquez on their machine coming into 2024. I can't wait for the Valencia test. I think that's going to be so just amazing to see. I think in terms of, you know, what is he going to do when he gets on the Ducati. Funny enough, Pecco Bagnaia actually said in the pre-event press conference that he expects Marquez to be fastest in the Valencia test after he does a time attack with the Ducati, as he sees there'll be no issue for Marquez to adapt from the Honda. There's a lot of unanswered questions. I think that there's, you know, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he will adapt to it quickly, but you have to remember, he's only ever rode a Honda in MotoGP, and the fact that bike has not stayed the same throughout his MotoGP career, but it has that same DNA. It's going to be a massive culture shock for Marquez, and it will take time. Everyone is saying he's going to win the first race in Qatar. I mean, you just can't disregard the talents of everyone else on the Ducati. You know, it'll take some time, but Marc Marquez, for me, is the best talent on the grid for what he's done in the MotoGP. Just with the past recent history, he's just been incredible to watch. I do think he will just have to adapt his riding style and how he brakes and how he just feathers the throttle on the bike. It's going to be so different compared to the Honda. Let's be honest. Would you be surprised if Marc Marquez was to win the opening round of the season? It wouldn't surprise me at all. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as some people think. Can't wait for this weekend. Like I said, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to give us a follow on social media. The links will be in the description below. And we will see you next time.